Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. Let's get straight down to it, shall we? So the big news obviously coming out of the boxing world the last couple of days is Canelo has rejected the Canelo Alvarez fight and the big money offer. And he's come out loud and proud and said, listen, here are the reasons why. It's all to do with Canelo. It's nothing to do with me. I've agreed terms, I've agreed everything, and yet he keeps moving the goalposts. So 1 minute he's offered me a certain financial settlement, no problem. I'm happy with the deal he's offered me. And then he wanted more money off the TV rights, no problem. Next he wanted to make sure that he was going second, no problem. Next thing he wanted to make sure he had the choice of the gloves, the venue, no problem. And then ultimately, apparently, obviously, we all know Canelo's got quite a lot going on at the moment, and Canelo alludes to this. His reality TV show, his golfing tournaments, his sponsorship deals, etc., etc. But he's not going to accept when Canelo tries to change the date, tries to demand even more things. And I think what's happened is clearly Canelo has tried to move the goalpost one too many times, and he's had enough. I think they were looking at September 18th, and then there was rumour that Canelo wanted that move to allow him more time. And then they're talking about the possible venues. I believe it was going to happen, obviously, at Dallas again in Texas. And now, because of lockdown moving, obviously, they're looking to try and move venue to Vegas. A lot of rumours going about, and I just think Canelo had enough. And I think also what's led to it is maybe Canelo again has tried to move the financial goals, where he's tried to up his own percentage and reduce Plant's. That's normally the reason why fights like this get called off. And Plant, if that's the case, I don't blame him. He's an undefeated champion. He's in his prime. He's got that IBF belt, which Canelo needs. Let's be honest. I mean, yes, in some regards, Plant needs Canelo, but Canelo needs Plant more. I mean, Plant can have a lot of tasty fights, good money fights, without Canelo. Canelo needs this. He needs to justify his big money wage from the zone. He needs big fights. They're not going to keep paying for the Rocky Fieldings of this world or the Yildirims. He needs meaningful fights. So Canelo, in a way, needs this fight more than Plant. So I can understand why Plant is knowing his worth and holding firm on this, especially if the goalposts keep moving. He's a world champion. He's got his his undefeated streak to think about. He's like I say, his IBF title. He's not going to be treated like a lackey. He's 29 years old. He's in his prime. And, whether you like it or not, he needs to stay busy. He hasn't fought in 10 months. So he wants to get the ball rolling. He doesn't want to keep being messed around. And I get that. So, yeah, it's a mess at the moment. Unfortunately, sort of killing boxing. Yet again, it looks like another big fight is fallen through after the Fury-Joshua debacle. And they need to get their act together. You know what I mean? Like Al Haym and Eddie Hearn need to sit this down, sort it out, and get a deal finalised. Because everyone wants to see this fight. They need to decide what network it's going to be on. Is it going to be on Fox? Is it going to be on DAZN? No doubt it will end up on DAZN. The A side's Canelo, the big money's DAZN. But they need to sort it out, and quickly, because September 18th is fast approaching, and it's not going to happen. That's like 6-7 weeks away. It's too soon now to be arguing about this. So realistically, we're looking at like an October-November date for this fight now, if it does happen, which is disappointing. But listen, I agree. I watched a really good podcast besides my own with Sean Porter, and I didn't think this because obviously I'm a big Billy Joe fan, but at super middleweight, is Billy Joe as good as Canelo? I don't think he is. I think Sean Porter and his team are spot on. Looking at the true fight, Canelo fought. Looking at the Vincent Fingerbus fight and the Mike Lee fights. Yes, I know these guys aren't elite; they're C-level fighters. But what Plant does well is he stays in shape all year round. Unlike Billy Joe, he's in the gym all year round trying to get better. He's 3 years younger. He's in his absolute prime. Unlike Billy Joe, possibly on the slide, He's a natural super middleweight. He's a big super middleweight. Billy Joe is a natural middleweight, not a natural super middleweight. So that's a big difference. And he throws with more intention, I think. He throws quicker combinations. Is he as elusive as Billy Joe? He's not far off. He's got very good footwork, very good head movement. I don't think he's quite on the Billy Joe level. Is he awkward? Yes, he is. Not quite as awkward as Billy Joe, but what he does do, he throws punches in combinations which Billy Joe doesn't do, and he stings and he hurts, and he's got punches from different angles which I think will cause Canelo's issues. I think he's got more size, and he's going to be a more difficult fight. I think he's also got that utter belief that he's going to win, and as much as Billy Joe probably maybe it's be unkind saying he didn't believe, but at super middleweight, did he have the same belief as he would have had at middleweight? I'm not sure. I'm not convinced. And the fact now is, Billy Joe's looking possibly to retire. Says a lot, doesn't it? Almost like a check-out fight. So I think Calaplant is going to be a tough fight for Canelo. I'm not saying Calaplant wins. I'm not sure if he's got enough power to hold Canelo off. And I'm not sure he's got enough experience or savvy to outbox him for 12 rounds. I think Canelo is in his prime, and I think he will eventually catch Calaplant and hurt him. And I think Calaplant's chin has been untested, but he can be hit. There's no question about that. But he hasn't been hit by someone as good as Canelo. He has fought C-level fighters. That's the problem with Calaplant. You can't go from C-level to A-level. This was the problem with Billy Joe, fighting the Martin Murrays of this world, with all due respect, and then going to fight Canelo. He hadn't fought anyone of elite for 5 years, Billy Joe, not really since Andy Lee. And then he goes and fights Canelo. The jump was too big. It worries me that this might be the case with Calaplant. I'd like to see Calaplant fight a Benavidez or a Daniel Jacobs, which is a good test. It's a solid test, and that bridges the gap between his current competition and the Canelo a bit more. That's who I would like to see him fight. But it is what it is. I think Calaplant gives Canelo an even tougher fight than Billy Joe. And let's be honest, Billy Joe had his moments. He was up, as far as I'm concerned, within 6. So, Calaplant could do the same. I just think down the home stretch, a bit like Billy Joe, has he got the stamina? Has he got the punch power? Has he got the experience to hold Canelo off? I don't think he has. I think Canelo will target the body like he did with Billy Joe. He knows Calaplant's elusive and quick. He'll try and slowly and surely wear him down with the body and eventually catch him with the head. And I think that will be all she's wrote. But I think it's a very good fight. I think Calaplant is totally right in what he's doing right now. He's holding out. He knows his rights. He's not going to be shortchanged, or he's not going to be messed around. Set the fee, set venue, let's get it on. It's looking like November now, and I think Calaplant will give Canelo a really good fight. But ultimately, Canelo wins, he becomes the undisputed champion, and then he probably moves up to light heavyweight.